Like, I don't know, it's silly, I think. Their success does not take away from my journey or anything like that. So speaking of success, that we're all very supportive of, tell me about your book and promoting said book.
So I won agency representation via a Twitter contest.
Awesome.
Where you had to pitch your book idea to this agency, which happened to be in my hometown. So,
Ooh.
I knew about it because I could, see the office from my porch. And they knew me too, but, I got through because of, people voting and stuff like that. So,
that's great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Like strangers voting or like your old friends from high school voting?
Probably a combination, but I also, towards the end, they picked the winner out of everything, and they said that my book idea was just the most, marketable and the one that they thought they could actually sell and all that, and, no bias or anything. So we started pitching my book.
I suppose they might have had to find they had to be super legit about you because they did know you, and if anyone ever found out that they had been aware of you beforehand, they'd be like, why did she have to win the contest?
Exactly.
It's no, she legitimately was good. Awesome.
But,
so then you had to write a book.
Right. So I had first year with nonfiction because it was, I have a food blog. And that's kind of what got me interested in food, and they were very specifically a literary agency about, for cookbooks. So I came up with this idea called Forking Up, and it was called Forking Up, Food for New Adults, and it was divided into, life, things, here's food to cook when you go through a breakup, or when you're in your first apartment, or when you are between, payday and non-payday, and stuff like that. So that's what we were marketing, that's what we were pitching to all of these. Oh, up here you take a right. This is my right. Okay. We're marketing or pitching to all of these publishers, and the editors would love me and love my voice. We'd get on the phone, and then they'd take me to their marketing team. Marketing team would be like, she doesn't have a big enough platform. She's not going to sell the book on her own. We can't do this. So that was frustrating. And so it took 2 years before I finally had a book deal, and it was because a publisher came to my agent and said, we have an idea, do you have a writer? And so it wasn't the original book idea I was pitching, and we were kind of waiting to see how my book does in the first year before we decide to either pitch a follow-up to the book that I wrote with their guidance, or to pitch the original book idea that I had. So,
because now that you have more of a fan base.
Exactly. I have a platform, and I can prove that I can sell a book. So, the book that they proposed was called How to Eat an Artichoke, and it was a bunch of culinary how-tos. And so I just worked with the editor to, make it my own and create my own list and come up with these, pithy little intros, and you're going to bear right, and then,
here?
Yep, bear right, and then turn right up there where it forks.
Okay.
So yeah, and I really made it my own and worked with the editor to, they sent me a preliminary list, and I sent one back and made additions and edits and all that. So they had the initial concept, but
Take Right?
Yeah, Take Right. But I really wrote the book.
That's so interesting. That is a fascinating view into having that kind of job, that you got their attention with one idea but then ended up doing something else.
Yep.
How fascinating. I bet you that happens so often too, where they say, do you have a writer who can just write this idea that we have?
And because I went to school for publishing, I knew how editors work with writers, and how much the writer ends up having to let go of some of their initial ideas because the editor knows how to make the book and knows how to make the book successful. So my editor would be like, I'm really sorry, but I think we have to cut this one, or could you think of another idea for this? And I was just like, yeah, sure, great.
Probably best that you were not so married to the ideas then.
Yeah.
So that you could make the editing better. You could take their notes. Oh, sorry. You could take the notes
Exactly.
From them. I find that in the classes that I teach, especially as I teach sort of higher level sketch, people will get very precious with the way, once they feel confident in their own voice, they'll be like, but this is how I write. And I'm like, that's great, but...
So it's where those cars up there, like that white car that's kind of coming out, it's behind the trees now. Not where this red car is, but the next one, that's where I get into my complex. But yeah, being like,
Here?
I don't know. Yeah, right there. My editor liked working with me because I wasn't, like, for one, I was very aware that I was a first-time author, and that, like, if the book didn't sell, I probably wouldn't get another one. So I was very open to switching it up and doing what I had to do, letting go of the ego.
That's so interesting. What's the name? What's your website for the food blog?
It's forkingup.com.
Oh, okay, great. So it goes with the other idea.
Yes.
We're going in here?
Yep, and the gate won't close on you. Yeah.
What?
It could be open like an inch and it will reopen. And I'm this first building.
Fun. Yeah, that's so great that you had the opportunity to write this book.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you've written the first one and it went well, they're giving you more opportunities and stuff like that?
We haven't tried yet because it hasn't been a whole year. Like, I wanted to get the second royalty statement and all that. But it got really good press. It was in the New York Times. It was Oprah's Cookbook of the Month for May.
That's gonna mean something,
yeah.
for sure.
So it was awesome. The PR team was crazy good.
Is that through? So the PR team is through the manager?
Through the publisher.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, it's a small independent publisher. It's called Quirk Books, but they put out Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just talked about that. That's fascinating.
So that was fun. But yeah, they have a smaller catalog, so they had the resources. The culinary agency that my agent is with, they do have a book publicity section of their company, because sometimes when your book comes out, maybe for a second time, like a reprint, or maybe you're doing a follow-up, publishers don't always give you PR or the team. So sometimes it's on you to do it, and a lot of times authors will actually hire outside PR teams to promote their book, because if their book doesn't sell, they don't get royalties and they don't make money off it. So yeah, it's interesting, but I'm really happy and pleased with all of the press I got for the book. So
yeah,
hopefully that helps with a follow-up.
So is that your hopeful path, is to continue to write more books? Or are you, and maybe cookbooks, maybe other kinds of books? Like, what do you think is your next big goal? Because that seems like a pretty solid cross off the list of life to do.
I know, right? Like, right before I turned 30, I published my first book and got married, and I'm like, all right, what other, like, life milestones can we get in here? But
don't bite off more than you can chew. It's okay, take your time.
Yeah, I got an Oprah magazine.
The 30s are when you can chill out a little bit more.
That's what
so don't
tells
worry.
Me. I don't feel like an adult yet, though.
I think that it's an actual, like, physiological, like, I think your hormones are less intense in your 30s, like less intense in the way of, like, in your 20s you're like, everything's insane. And then when you're in your 30s, it's kind of like, all right, everything's insane, but like it's been insane before and I've handled it, so it's not like crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know plenty of people who are insane of all ages, but it's almost like we were talking about earlier, where there's just some people who are, grumpy and don't want to, like, see positivity. Yeah. And then there's just some people, I think the people who grow old gracefully are the people who are, like, having a good time throughout and not going like, my heyday was 30 years ago. Like, all right, come on, get over it. So what is your next goal?
Well, I really do like my day job. I feel like writing will always be there, and I could be doing more to really push, like, freelance writing and all that, but I just have fun with it. Like, I love my blog, I love writing. If I get to a point someday where I can totally sustain myself on just writing cookbooks, that would be amazing, but I'm also realistic.
Sure.
So I like my job, I like connecting with people. I think just, like, writing by myself might be kind of a lonely existence. But I've started to get more into sketch comedy, and I'm in like a sketch improv duo right now that I'm really excited about, and we're like churning stuff out every week. So
That's great.
yeah, I'm excited. I want to put up a show soon.
But churning stuff out every week, so you like are working together on
Yeah.
like kind of a regular schedule to get stuff written.
I texted him. I woke up in the middle of the night and I texted him a sketch idea, like, and I thought that I dreamed it. And then I woke up in the morning and I had a text from him saying, "That's a great idea. I'm going to write it out today and then we can edit it." And I'm like, wait, I actually texted you. And so we did, and he wrote the first draft, and then I went in and edited it, and then we like sent it back and forth and then we put it up on stage at Anything Live.
Oh, sweet baby. That might be our alarm clock.
Yeah.
Baby doll.
He's a cute alarm clock.
He's a good one. He just needs to go to bed. I know it's after
Oh,
bedtime.
goodness, that's why.
It's so late. He needs to be in bed. Aw. Thank you so much for chatting with me
Thanks for chatting with me.
allowing me to do it in a driving scenario.
No problem.
It'll be the first time. But yeah, it looks like that's a solid amount of time. That's
Great.
good. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Yes But Why podcast.